Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Foundation follow-up for the Dynamic Discs Open out in Emporia, Kansas. You might notice, again, we are not joined by Trevor today. It's just Hunter and Nick Carl here.
Yep.
Trevor is on his honeymoon still, down in Florida, kicking it on the beach. And you might also notice something else. Nick is not in a suit. I'm not in a suit, but I still dressed up for this occasion.
He at least dressed nicely.
Yes.
I have pink shorts on, so if that makes anyone feel better, they're nice shorts.
That might make some people feel better. So let's just quickly get it out of the way. Why aren't you dressed up right now?
Well, I went and played a weekly league, or I should say attempted. I didn't play great. But
What place? Do you know what place you came in?
Probably like 5th or something, 4th or 5th. Out of like 5.
Oh,
I'm just
dang.
kidding. No, I'm just kidding. No, I think it's out of like 7 or 8. No, I only shot like 4 down on a pretty easy course. But
Now, to be fair, your hoodie is probably worth more than my nice shirt.
my hoodie is absolutely
Yeah.
worth more than your
So,
nice shirt. My
least-
hoodie actually is probably worth more than your whole outfit.
That's probably fair. So if we're just looking at from that angle, you're
Yeah.
dressed nicer than me. But let's, without hesitation, just get right into the Dynamic Disc Open. There's a lot of storylines already going down. One thing to note is we are only through 2 rounds out of the 4. We normally do this before the final day, but there are some scheduling conflicts tomorrow with actually Nick, Connor, and Trevor. So
Yeah.
it's literally just going to be me, and I figured it'd be better to at least have Nick here and have Connor producing the show. So I figured it was a little better just to do it after round 2. But today is the final day of the Jones Gold course. Starting tomorrow, they'll be going to the Emporia Country Club for 2 rounds, which that's going to create some storylines in and of itself, because that course does play a little bit different than Jones Jones Gold. But let's just look at the MPO standings right now. A quick note, FPO is currently still on the course. So if you're a Disc Golf Network subscriber, what I encourage you to do is have the Disc Golf Network pulled up in a different tab. Put them on mute if you want to listen to our show. And that way, while we're talking, you can watch the FPO finish out their last 3 or 4 holes. And then by the time they're done, we'll be transitioning into the FPO topics and talking over how their round ended up here. So if you are a Disc Golf Network subscriber, I highly encourage you to do that. Support the FPO and watch them kind of coming down the stretch here. But let's look at the MPO stats. Or the MPO standings. Sorry, there we go. Had to clear that off my screen. So we got right now a 3-way tie in the lead. Eagle McMahon, expected.
Yep.
Calvin Heimberg,
Yep.
expected. Ben Calloway,
Not expected.
not expected.
Nope.
This is the second Elite Series event in a row that we have seen him, though, kind of in the mix. Is this something, again, where Jonesboro and this course probably play pretty similar?
Yeah, I think so for the most part. So I actually met officially Ben down in Waco, Texas, where when we were in Waco, it was super windy. It's more of a tight wooded course. There are some open holes excuse me, I can't speak right now, towards the end. But now that we've hit Jonesboro and we've hit now the DDO courses, Ben's a bomber. He's a very athletic kid. Got a solid putt. It looks like backhand and forehand. So I think just these courses alone are letting him open up and actually release his full potential.
Yeah.
Which is pretty sweet to see. I mean, I'm curious ratings-wise how much above his average he's rating right now.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but speaking to him being a bomber, we were just talking about this. So on hole 18, Eagle is actually in the driver's seat completely. He should be in the clubhouse right now with like a 2-stroke lead.
Yeah.
Hole 18 actually plays pretty well for him. So where it could have been it probably was a 2-stroke lead. We'll just hang it at that. He should be a 2-stroke lead. He unfortunately hit the flagpole on 18 out at Jones Gold, but so did Ben Calloway. Eagle was in a slightly worse position. Ben was able to push up a little bit, but the commentators, Big Germ, stated that he thought Ben was about 530 feet away from the pin. Ben proceeded to pull out what looked to be a nuke and literally just throw a hyzer flip to flat. It was downhill, but just a hyzer flip to flat and put it about 10 feet away from the basket.
That's insane.
Which is just ridiculous. So he was able to take the birdie there. Eagle, after hitting the flagpole, being way far back, ended up on a knee under a tree, got a lucky break to stay in bounds, and then laid up and took the only bogey that you're going to see out of the top 5 today. And that only bogey is offset by 3 eagles from the same group of people.
Yeah, so Eagle had 2 different eagles today. One of them was a disgustingly good roller that he put to like within circle 1 on hole number 8.
Yeah, which is a 585-foot hole.
Yeah, so out of the 5 people, the top 5, Ben Calloway, Eagle, Calvin, Ricky, and Paul, there's 1 bogey between all of them, like you were just saying, Eagle on hole 18. It's funny because on hole 12, which looks to be playing like one of the easiest holes on the courses, Eagle Eagle eagled it, Calvin birdied it, Ricky eagled it, and Paul eagled it. Ben took a 5 on it. So kind of talking about easy holes, Ben potentially had a bad mishap. I don't know what happened, but he only took a 5 on it. So he parred. So he lost 2 strokes to 3 of those guys and 1 stroke to the other one. So, I mean, he takes a birdie on that. He's got a 1-stroke advantage. But you can say the same thing. Eagle takes a par on hole 18. He's got a 1-stroke advantage.
Yeah, I mean, one thing that we can't say about Ben's game is that he's affected by the lead card jitters or whatever we wanted to call it last time.
That's something that we were talking about last time at Jonesboro. Was like, okay, you got off to a shaky start after, the Jomez card being on the feature card and everything, or the live feature card. And he kind of dwindled off from there, but we can see that, look, he was back on the lead card this time, mic'd up with Jomez, has a live going on with him, and he put up another incredible round. And I'm kind of looking at the ratings right now. Round 1, he shot a 1061. He was the leader for a while until Eagle and Calvin came in. That was a 1061 rated round. And then round 2 is 1073.
Wow.
Ben's only a 1013 rated player.
Not for long.
Yeah, definitely not for long. I mean, he could just quit the rest of the month and he'd be perfectly fine. But that's 50 points above his rating, which is absolutely absurd.
Yeah,
but that's what it takes to win these top-level tournaments right now. Like, Eagle went 1068, 1067. So, obviously, he's averaging 1068 rated golf pretty much. And that's what it's taking to be the leader, which is insane.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a new level of golf. Another pretty big storyline that we're seeing out here is Ricky Wysocki. He shot course record today, 15 under par, and he did that in some unique circumstances to where he just recently posted about losing his sister. She, I believe, had a brain tumor, brain cancer. He actually did not get as much practice for this event because of that. He flew home to see her in the ICU, took an overnight flight. In the podcast on Thursday, we shot it on Wednesday, I wasn't expecting him to play this event.
Yeah.
I don't think many people were. He came back round 1, obviously being fresh off of that trip. I think it was probably a little bit rocky. Also, you add to it that he didn't get to practice as much. This round, you can't really say that for him. He, again, set the course record. He is right in this thing. He's 2 strokes off the lead. We've mentioned it on Grip Locked. I'll mention it again here. If you're in a position to help his sister's family out, there is a GoFundMe for her. You can look up Lauren Wysocki. I don't think we have the link in the description right now, but it's definitely, unfortunate. All of our thoughts and prayers are with his family going through this. He had an interview after, and you could definitely tell he was very close to his sister, and it's a tough thing for him to be going through, but you can also tell that he's playing for her. So right now, I'm rooting pretty hard for Rick this week.
Yeah.
I think this would be one of those moments that just makes sports special, because he had said disc golf is his outlet right now. Disc golf is what allows him to escape reality and just feel normal, and I think that is something that sports allows all of us to do, where if he's able to pull this off and come back with this win, that's one of those just special moments, kind of like in basketball, I think, of Isaiah Thomas.
I was just about to say that because he was playing for the Celtics at the time, and, his sister was killed in a car crash, I think is what it was. And to go out there and I think like during one of the playoff games put up over 30 points. Like it was just absolutely absurd. And it's funny, I actually finally just got a chance to watch The Last Dance, the Michael Jordan series.
Yeah.
And just him talking about when his father got murdered and still being able to go out there and like just dominate in his sport. It's pretty wild. I don't know if I was ever in a position like that, how I would react. I mean, personally, I think I would have just taken off the tournament, been with family, but at the same time, whatever Ricky's doing, it's working for him. Yeah. And who am I to say, what he should or shouldn't do?
Like I said, I think when you're at this level of the Isaiah Thomas, the Michael Jordan, and the Ricky, because obviously it's two different sports, but they're all kind of at that top level. It does become kind of like that escape where you can feel normal in the midst of something that is far from it. Yeah. And it allows you to probably have a few moments of just getting back to yourself. And I think that that's kind of what he's going through right now. He had an amazing round today. He was 92% Circle 1X putting. Yesterday, I believe he was only 50%. So a little bit, 50% Circle 1X putting, which when talking about Rick, that's pretty rare.
That's
it doesn't
low.
tell the full story. because if you look at it, he was parked on the majority of holes, and it looks like he just missed 2 Circle 1X putts.
Okay.
But he only had 2 other ones. So
Yep.
he was 2 for 4. So that, with taking out the tap ins, it does kind of change the story a little bit. But, right behind him is Paul McBeth. So basically, we have our normal top 4. We have the Eagle, Calvin, Ricky, Paul. Heck, if you keep going down, you have the normal 6.
Almost, yeah, exactly.
Chris Dickerson and Kevin Jones. They're all in the top 7 here.
Yep.
And then you have Ben Callaway, also leading the way. And Zachariah Johnson is another name that we haven't seen too much of.
Yeah, he's definitely someone where, you'll see him on smaller tournament coverage that, more local tournaments do. And he has been on some lead cards out there. I remember he did well at D-Glow, I think back in 2019, got like a top 3 finish. But definitely a player who has power. He's got an incredible forehand. It's really, really powerful.
He relies on that a lot.
Yeah, and for what seems to be a pretty open course, I'm pretty sure he's using that a lot. But also just, he shot, 11 down today? No bogeys or anything like that. His Circle 1 percentage was 100% today with a lot of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 different putts that actually required non-tap-ins. And then hit 1 for 4 in Circle 2.
Yeah.
So definitely putting a story that's really helping him out right now, without a doubt.
I feel like in the past, this has been an event he's done good at. I know we've also kind of seen him at USDGC before.
Yep.
Push up there. So it seems like some of these a little bit more open, where you just have to stay in the fairway. It seems like that tends to play towards his game.
Yeah.
So it's definitely cool to see his name back up in there. And as we've talked about at the last follow-up show, the USDGC spots that are on the line, he is currently holding the top 1. We have Anthony Barella is in a position right now, assuming he holds on through the next 2 rounds, to also be qualifying. Noah Miensma, Ezra Robinson, Brody Smith, and Gavin Rathbun. Right now, they're all kind of tied. I believe that's more places than there are spots given. So there would be a playoff.
Yeah, right now it looks like Ezra, Brody, and Gavin are the ones playing off for that final spot. But we're only 2 rounds in.
We're only 2 rounds in. Exactly. There's still 2 rounds to go.
Yeah.
But if you look at that final spot is averaging 9 down. Brody went 9 down, 9 down. Looks like Ezra went 9 down, 9 down. Gavin went, did he go 11 down, 7 down?
Yeah. So,
man. Yep. So there's definitely a lot of good golf required to be playing for those USDGC spots, and it's definitely a storyline to be looking at as we head into the next 2 days. Now, one thing that I saw on Twitter, and I've seen a few different times about this event so far, is how easy it's playing for these top guys.
Yeah, I kind of noticed that after the first day. I was like, dang, it seems like another birdie or die course. Pros are just annihilating a ton of courses that are coming out on tour right now, but it seems like this one, at least for Jones East or Jones Gold, whatever you want to call it, they're annihilating.
Well, I think part of the reason is it's designed, a lot of courses in Kansas I feel like are this way, designed with wind in mind and with the weather in mind. And obviously yesterday there was some weather. From what I saw, it didn't look like the wind for the majority of the field was a huge factor. And today, I've been watching it up here. It's been saying 7 to 9 mile an hour pretty much all day. Although that is a consistent wind, you're probably more used to seeing 15 to 20.
Yeah, especially out there.
So I think that is playing a pretty big factor. The lack of wind is allowing it to be such a strong scoring possibility out there for these players. The weather was a lot more of a factor for FPO yesterday. Actually ended up canceling a part of their round, and they had to play some of it this morning. We'll definitely talk about that as we get into the FPO. But I want to, as always with this show, one of the big parts of what we do is diving a little deeper into the stats and trying to see why are the players sitting where they are at, and is there anything interesting going on maybe outside the top. One thing about an event like this where it is so tight is there's not a lot of like stats that you can look at across the round and be like, oh, wow, this is what a player is doing way better than the rest of the field. But one of these things, if you go to all around and you look at the gained tee to green, you'll notice 2 names up top that are leading by a pretty decent amount over some of the leaders, which is Ricky and Paul. So if you go gained tee to green, Ricky's leading the whole field with 15.38 strokes gained tee to green. Paul's at 14. Calvin is the next closest at 13. And then you have to jump down to Ben Callaway if you want to find the next person in first at 11. And then Eagle's only at 10. So what that tells me is, again, as we head into Emporia Country Club, Ricky and Paul are throwing the disc very well right now.
Extremely well.
It just looks like for them, honestly, for Rick, the amount of OB strokes is kind of what's holding him back, and that's only 3. So it's not like we're talking about something crazy, but Eagle and Ben Calloway both are only at 1. So you give them the same amount of OB strokes, Ricky's tied.
Yeah, exactly. And then also, I mean, you go from tee to green. Obviously, Ricky and Paul are 2 of the best throwers of the disc in the game. But then you talk about the putting right now and the gained putting. I mean, Eagle McMahon is doing the best out of our top 5 players. Ben Calloway, a couple under that. And then other than that, we're not looking. I don't see Calvin. Calvin's way down there outside of probably the 10-10 with the best putting or, putting strokes gained and everything like that. And then Ricky, we were talking about, missed 2 Circle 1X putts. I mean, what did he go, like 2 tournaments in a row with missing only one of them? And that was like 4, 5, 6 rounds almost.
Yeah.
So the putting is definitely something that a couple players are doing very well at, especially, like we said, Eagle is leading with the gained putting. He's 4th right now with the gained putting. But the other players like Zach Melton, putting incredible, but he's only 1 down throughout the tournament.
Which, one thing to mention about Zach Melton is I believe day 1 he took, was it an 11 on hole 1?
Yeah.
And he's still sitting under par. I was actually going to bring him up because if you go and like sort by the amount of OBs on the bad side, he's in 3rd with 14 total OB strokes, yet he's somehow at 1 under par. So not really a storyline as far as we're not going to be talking about Zach Melton when it comes to placement or anything like that because he's in 101st right now. Yeah. But that takes some serious mental fortitude.
Yeah, I'm kind of looking at that now, and I'm like, you got a guy who threw 26 times OB, and he's at plus 38. But another one, just looking down at that list, is Brian Earhart. He has 11 OBs right now, and he's 1 down as well.
Yeah.
So, I mean, keep it in the fairway, guys, and they'd be...
Yeah, then
top 25 at the tournament
right there. I mean, you take if Zach Melton has thrown 0 OBs, he's 15 under par.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, that doesn't put him in contention for the win, but he's sitting...
But, hey, that's cash.
Like 25th right now.
Yeah.
One other storyline that I wanted to bring up, mainly because he's a local guy, was Justin Rozak.
Mm-hmm.
He popped off yesterday's round with, I believe it was an 11 under par.
Yeah.
He did not do as well today. Shot a 4 under par to be sitting at 15 total right now. Mm-hmm. But, I mean, he's still in the top 25. Like I said, he is a local guy. Well, he's from Pennsylvania, came here for college.
Yeah, I was going to say,
why he's a local guy.
Yeah, exactly.
But 988 rated, I believe, playing well above his rating and hanging around right now. We'll see if that holds true as we head into the last 2 rounds out here.
One little cool thing, not a surprise at all, but Gannon is only 1 stroke out of that USDGC spot, I think, right now.
Yeah.
And he's been playing well. Got a couple bogeys. He cleans up those bogeys, and he's right up there in the mix. I mean, I saw him throw... The camera was on him a couple times today because I'm pretty sure he was on Ricky's card. Mm-hmm. And, he's driving-wise, keeps up with absolutely everyone distance-wise.
He throws so far.
Yeah.
And effortlessly, really. He just has that build, the long, lanky build. One thing I do want to kind of scroll down is I always like scrolling down the list and just seeing surprises that are the opposite way. Mm-hmm. Some players who are not in the position you'd expect them to be. There's actually some pretty big movers today on the positive side of this. As you scroll down, you'll see Joel Freeman shot 9 down today, was able to move up 29 spots to 27th. Jake Ebenheimer, 10 down today, 12 down total for the tournament. He's 10 down with a bogey, moved up 53 spots. But as you're scrolling past all these, you'll see Nathan Queen is sitting in 40th place right now. Mm-hmm. He shot 9 down today, moved up 46 spots. But another player, and this one's going to hurt Connor behind the camera back here, because he was one of his picks in the top 3.
Okay, I'm curious who it is.
Mr. Nico LaCastro.
Nico.
He's only 11 down for the tournament, is sitting in 40th place right now. He only shot a 3 down today. Mm-hmm. So that is pretty surprising. Just scrolling down through the list, seeing if there's anyone else that I missed that's surprisingly low. I don't really see anyone besides, obviously, we mentioned Zach Melton. Mm-hmm. We mentioned Brian Earhart. They're both struggling this tournament, but
I think it's funny. Two players, we were just talking about Nathan Queen and then also Matt Bell. They're either playing out of their mind, and you see them in the top 10 a lot, or they both start out slow and then just slowly creep their way back up into a high cash spot. And it's kind of unfortunate because obviously Nathan is a really good lefty player and I'm a sponsor guy. And then Matt Bell is like the sneakiest player to do well. I mean, Matt Bell today started the tournament with an 8, quadruple bogey, and then popped off and still shot 6 down. So, I mean, take a par on that, and he shoots 10 down, and he moves up even more spots.
No, for sure.
I think it's kind of funny seeing players like that. Emerson Keith shot all right today, moved up 27 spots with a 7 down round. So there's definitely some players making moves.
Nathan Queen's a player I expect to be hearing a little bit more of as the tour eventually makes its way to the East Coast.
Yeah.
He dominated the North Carolina scene for a while, which that just tells you he's a great woods golfer. Yeah. So on courses like this, it doesn't really surprise me when he doesn't do that well. He's a great all-around golfer, but I think he is a little bit more comfortable just in the woods with those touchy flip-up, turnover type putter shots. So when there is a little bit more of an open course and he needs to rip, that's not the type of event I really expect him to do well at. Now, I do want to bring my notes back up here, make sure. I was looking over here, and I wanted to go over predictions for the final 2 days. We are going to be moving to the Emporia Country Club, which I actually spoke incorrectly on Twitter and said it's a longer course. It's not a longer course. Jones Gold actually is longer. I'm thinking of Jones East. So Jones Gold is kind of like a safari layout between Jones
the two,
East and West.
Yep.
So it actually is the longer course, but Emporia Country Club is a little bit more open. I would expect we're going to see a little bit more wind over there, even though the weather might stay about the same. It doesn't have as much for the wind to fight to kind of get to the players and get through there. So
if you look at Emporia Country Club longs, it says that it's 10,658 feet, and if you look at Jones Gold, it says it's 10,511.
Now
feet.
That's very interesting because that is different from.
So unless you can see it somewhere else, which I have no idea.
You know what? I know exactly what I was looking at. I was looking at the women's, the FPO layout.
Okay, so that makes sense.
So the FPO layout,
I thought Country. Course, the first hole at Country Club is like 1,200 feet.
That's what I was thinking in my head.
Yeah,
I was like, surely it's longer.
Yeah.
I was on the FPO
I guess
when I clicked.
It's only a little bit longer. It's really not that substantial. But yeah, it does seem like it's more like it's a very open course still, but it seems like it's a little bit more like technicality open. Like it seems like OB is a little bit more in play there, which for a lot of these players, like OB is obviously in play in Emporia all the time. Without all the courses, especially when there's wind.
Yeah.
But right now, the first 2 days have been relatively calm in the wind factor. Obviously, it poured down a little bit yesterday, but wind-wise, they haven't really been dealing with a ton. So I'm curious how the next 2 days are going to go, especially switching over to Emporia Country Club, because that is the course that, go back to 2019, and there was only like 3 players the last round who shot under par. It was stupid. So I'd be curious. Moving-wise, I'm really curious to see how Ben Callaway ends up right now because, I could totally see this being a tournament to where the last round you see the top 4 players in the world.
Yeah.
Eagle, Calvin, Paul, Ricky. And then it's cool because it's a close battle right now. Paul's only 3 strokes out of the lead. He's only 1 stroke behind Ricky. And Ricky's only 2 strokes out of the lead right now. So it's all within striking distance. With Emporia Country Club, you have shots where you have to carry OB the whole time. So it's almost like it's a stroke and distance course at points, which I like. I actually wish there was more stroke and distance because I feel like there's too many OB shots that almost like favor a player for making a small mistake.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't punish them enough. There's not enough scoring separation. And I think that's one of the biggest things in disc golf right now is we're not seeing enough scoring separation. I don't know exactly what the way to fix that is, but I feel like stroke and distance in certain areas would definitely help out. But
the tough part with things like that is there's definitely benefits to it because I'm in full agreement with you. But then there's also instances where a course designer or TD could overuse it, and that's where I think stroke and distance has a bad taste in a lot of disc golfers' mouths is because it did get overused in the past.
Yeah.
So I think a tournament like this,
with like Ledgestone and USDGC back in the day. Yeah.
Yeah. I think a tournament like this, you're right. Which USDGC I don't have as much of a problem with because it's the top players in the world. Yeah. Like they need to be challenged a little bit. But I do think that what's interesting about courses like this, like Jones Gold, how it's playing right now, it's obviously, we mentioned it, a very easy course. We think it's probably has somewhat to do with the wind, but in general, if someone's able to shoot, we see 13, 14, where's the first single digits? The first single digits under round comes from 11th place in Adam Hammes, and he dropped 5 spots because of it. So it's obviously playing very easy right now. Courses like that where they're not the best, in my opinion, as far as like excitement and stuff goes, they kind of are at the same time. Because it's not as exciting because you're not seeing players struggle. You're seeing a lot of birdie after birdie after birdie. Yeah. Which some people find that exciting. But what it does create is these super close matches. It reminds me of the Preserve last year.
Yeah.
At the Preserve, we saw a similar thing where it was super kind of like birdie or die type golf. And what it led to was a very tight match coming down the line. With us switching to Emporia Country Club, that might change things up. Like you said, I think that's going to play harder. That's going to kind of separate the field out a little bit. We will see a little more separation. If it was all 4 rounds at Jones, we'd probably see some type of playoff, to be honest with you.
Yeah, more than likely.
But
I'm glad it's not all 4 at Jones.
I want to hear your opinion as someone who's much closer to that touring level than I am. What do you think when you see a tournament like this, when you're going out to a course and every single hole you're kind of thinking in your head, I can get this hole? Because obviously that's what's going on. Every player's going for these holes.
Yeah.
Does that get you more excited as a player who's, not that top tier player? Does that get you more excited? Or you're like, well, now I don't have a chance. I got to shoot 15 down if I want to be in contention.
No, so it's funny because this course, I mean, a lot of these par 4s, I'm kind of looking at hole 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10. Let's say 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10. Those are all holes that a majority of the players, they're all birdieing. And it seems like relatively easy. Like if you throw a good drive, like a decent enough drive, you have a pretty routine upshot to the basket. And then as long as you can make your putt. So for me, it's almost like, I'm not saying I'd go out there and shoot 10 down every round, but I'm saying that I would go out there, I think, with the conditions that they've had so far. And I feel like I could consistently do well there. Courses that play long, like let's talk about Vegas. I went out there and I played well. I made cash, I made the cut and everything like that. But there are so many par 3s on 2 of the courses that I can't reach.
Yeah.
And especially if there's a little bit of headwind, absolutely not. Like I'm struggling to get a 3 on some of those holes. But a course like this where your par 3s, 351 feet, 355 feet, 325 feet, 425 and 325. I know 16 and 17 are both, I think 16 is a pretty difficult hole, but those are all reachable distances for me. And then a couple of their par 4s, like hole 1 obviously looks really hard. I see a lot of people struggling with that one. Hole 18 is a struggle. But a lot of these par 4s that players are just going through and murdering every single one of them, it almost seems like they could do that going like a mid-range to the basket. I don't want to say the course looks too easy because I'm not there. But at the same time, it does look intriguing to me almost. I told myself I would never go and play the DDO.
Yeah.
Because every single time I look at it, I just see it's a tornado there when they're playing. And then this is the one year where I actually had a chance to go, and there's no wind right now. I'm like, dang it. But I'll go out there eventually because honestly, I've heard it's an incredibly well-ran tournament.
Oh, yeah. I haven't played the DDO. Actually, I've never played a tournament in Emporia, but I was there for Worlds, and I got to play these courses, and the courses are beautiful, super fun to play. But you do need your overstable plastic ready to go because at any second it can be 25, 30 mile an hour winds. But yeah, I was looking at the course, and the averages are kind of surprising to me. It's only averaging 2 strokes under par. I think that's due to there being OB, to where you do see those players who are 38, 40 over par right now. That's kind of the bottom half of the field who aren't actually on tour right now. Well, I can't say that about everyone, but you know what I mean? The majority of them. I think that's kind of hurting the averages in general. I would love to see if UDisc was able to do this, where we could look at just like the top 25 players, what their average on these holes would be. Because I think it would tell us a much different story. But hole 9 right now is playing as the easiest hole, pretty much tied with hole 10 at almost 0.6 strokes under par average. And then we have hole 12 and hole 14 look to be the most eagled holes, with a few eagles each on there. Yeah, I mean, the course in general is I think you're right, where it has those distances that are reachable and those par 4s that are just, either attackable or, like you're saying, just mid, and you're going to birdie it every single time you're out there.
Maybe, mid might be a stretch. Let's say, players are probably throwing fairways and Thunderbirds, or they're doing these spike hyzers. Like, I'm seeing a lot of spike hyzers, which isn't a strong suit of my game. I get that. But at the same time, like, I'm looking at my buddy Casey White. Okay, he went double bogey to start his round. But then when this is 4 par 4s in a row, went 3, 3, 3, 3, and then took a 3 on a par 3, which actually, kind of looking at it, hole 7, I don't know the hole off the top of my head, but I'm seeing a lot of players didn't get it.
It looks like the majority of the field is
majority of the players are not getting it. If you're getting a 2 on that, you're actually getting a lot of strokes, it looks like.
Yeah.
But then going back to Casey, I'm looking at hole 8, 9, 10, 11. He goes birdie, 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 birdie.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm looking at a bunch of these par 4s. Like, the players are murdering the par 4s out there. And I'm not saying they shouldn't be par fours. I get that they probably should be. People aren't. It doesn't seem like a lot of people are eagling almost any of them. You have your freaking nature players like Eagle getting an eagle here and there.
Yeah.
But a majority of these players, like even going down the list, you can find, just a random guy, John Jones. I have no idea who he is. But 4, 5, and 6, he went birdie, birdie, birdie.
Yeah. Well,
So-
I mean, if you even look at 8 to 17 is the stretch I was just looking at in my head. So after that hole 7 we were just talking about, if you just keep your eyes kind of on that range as you scroll, you're pretty much only seeing blue.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some white sprinkled in with some pars. Colton Montgomery somehow took an 8 on hole 14.
Yeah. But look at your top 10.
But yeah, if you go
Look
just
at
top
them
10,
play hole 8 through 17. And
I'm
they
just going to count
they-
this
they
because it's gonna be
murdered
super
it.
easy. We got
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15
Yeah.
pars.
Chris
On
Dickerson.
those and that's like what, probably 100 some holes played.
Exactly. Chris Dickerson from hole 5 to 17.
I
5 to
didn't
16,
even see
5
that.
to 16.
Holy
just goes
cow.
birdie, birdie, birdie. Like holes 5 through 16.
He
just
had 12
birdies
straight.
everything.
He had 12 straight
Yeah.
birdies.
It's insane. Starts the tournament with a bogey.
He went
and then goes off
bogey,
and does that. Yeah.
bogey, par, 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 and then
Yeah.
12 straight birdies to shoot 11 down today.
So
Holy cow!
So
What a
not
stretch.
not saying yeah, it's wild. I'm curious because I want to see I like seeing bogeys. I like seeing players struggle to get par. And I think, we talked about Paul's new course that he just opened up here. And for the average player, okay, it's hard to get birdies there.
Very hard.
And I want to say that because you have to throw almost a perfect drive and then throw an incredible upshot.
Yeah.
Like I will give $100 to any 1,000 or less rated player on video first tries to go in birdie hole 2 at New London. You can't do it right now.
No. Wait.
Hole 2.
Oh gosh, no.
So that I like that because pro players
I
will
took
be able
an 8 my first time out
yeah,
there.
pro players I don't think I've seen Paul even par it yet. Like
He just birdies it.
no, he either get bogeys or
Oh, yeah.
like
Yeah,
I'm pretty
yeah,
sure
okay,
he
good.
bogeyed it in the video that he
Good.
did with Nate Sexton.
I was about to say
it's-
that's sickening.
It's insane. Yeah. What was sickening was watching Nate throw hole 6. Just absolutely perfect in their video. The long par 5, the one that bends.
Oh yeah.
So,
Yeah,
anywho,
I'm definitely excited.
Yeah.
Continuing on that course, I'm definitely excited for the Battle for Bedford to watch pros actually come and see what the scores in MPO look like.
I'll be drinking at a wedding, watching all these bogeys happen.
I'm very
I'll be
curious
pumped.
to see what 1,000 rated looks like out there.
Oh, dude, it's gonna be like 5 over.
Yeah.
Oh, for
It'll
that
probably
many?
be a few over.
Okay, so probably 3 over at that tournament. Yeah, 3 or 4 over. I bet you.
It's definitely going to be
It's crazy though.
interesting.
For anyone ever traveling down, do we call this Central or Southern Virginia?
Central Virginia.
Okay, Central. So for anyone traveling through Central Virginia, if you check out New London, it's incredible. It's awesome. The only thing that it doesn't have there that I wish it did is kind of like that water shot.
Yeah.
Like Maple Hill, you got hole 1 over the water. You got hole 8, 14. But anyways, back to DDO.
So let's just look
Rather
at
than getting
predictions. The final
off
2
track.
days. What do you think is going to happen? Who do you think's taking it down? Let's go our podium. Now that we know what these first 2 days look like, who do you think's going to end up top 3?
Oof.
Good luck.
Yeah, I know, right? I'm like, ooh. I'm gonna go bold, and I'm gonna go. Calvin takes it down.
Okay.
Ricky 1 stroke behind him, and then it's always a toss up between Eagle or Paul, and I hate that because I want to root for Paul because he's my homeboy, but at the same time, I'm like, Eagle's playing pretty well right now, but Eagle's got a little injury lingering. So I'm gonna go Calvin winning it, Ricky in second, Paul in third, with Eagle rounding out that kind of like top 4. Obviously, the best players in the world, and then honestly, I see Chris and Ben tying at that 5th place spot.
So I said podium, and you just ran with
Yeah. Well, I went top 5.
You went
I
top
went top
6
5
because you said tying at that 5th spot.
4. Oh yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. All right.
Okay,
But
well,
podium, Calvin, Ricky, Paul.
so I'm looking at this tournament. I'm thinking that Eagle's going to end up taking it down, and I'll explain this why. Jones Gold, if I'm looking at the 2 courses, Jones Gold is the one I expect Eagle to have a little bit of a harder time with in relation to the field, just because there is a little bit more of that, not necessarily woods, but there's more stuff in the way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
There might not be as much OB that comes into play, but when I think of Emporia Country Club, that's the type of course that I picture Eagle like feasting at.
Yeah.
That's the type of course that I think that he's just going to dominate. So seeing him already tied for the lead right now, headed into Emporia Country Club, I think it's going to be hard for someone to beat him. So I'm going to pick Eagle, but I'm rooting hardcore for Ricky this week. I'm a Rick fan this week. I'm always a Rick fan in general, especially because of this season.
Yeah.
The Nick and Matt show has changed my perspective on Ricky.
Yeah.
His interviews on there. If you haven't
Honestly,
had a chance to watch them.
Honestly, so I've known Ricky for a little while now. His buddy Steven Economos is one of my really good friends back from Massachusetts. And so I actually met Ricky years before I had met Paul. And I'd never obviously gotten close to him, not nearly as close as I am with Paul.
Yeah.
So I've had conversations with him when I've been out on the road before, and he talks fine. But interviews-wise, he was always kind of like, he struggled a little bit with interviews. And then honestly, he's just kind of matured over the years. But then after having him on our show for the first time, I looked at Matt after the show. I was like, holy crap, that was really good.
Yeah.
And then just him as a person and the answers that he was giving during the show, I was like, class act, get it right now.
Yeah. So I'm rooting hardcore for him, just the storyline of what's happening. But I do think Eagle's going to end up taking it down. I think that I don't want to have the same top three as you, but it's hard not to.
Yeah,
because this is historically, if you're looking over the past few years of this event, Paul's always up there. Even if you go back to like 2016 Worlds, I think was here.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2016 Worlds was there. And again, Paul just finds a way at Emporia Country Club to get himself back in the mix. I think it's because there's enough holes out there that are attackable. That Paul can just do kind of Paul things.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Ricky dominated the 2016 Worlds with pretty dominant
but Paul was
fashion.
able
But
to
Paul
sneak
has
into second.
always exactly.
I think there was one brief moment where you had a thought of Paul might win this.
Yeah, if
And
he
then
had like eagled hole 18 or something like that on one of the rounds.
Yeah. There was a brief moment in there because I was there and I remember when we were walking. I was a diehard just Paul fan at that point. I was friends with him, but diehard fan. And I remember thinking like, oh, he's about to do it. He's about to do it.
Yeah.
And then Ricky was able to hold on.
Exactly.
But so I'm going Eagle, Ricky, Paul.
Paul has done extremely well at this event, though. I mean, you talk about dating back to 2015. He won it in 2015, lost to Cam Todd in 2016 for the GBO. But then going back to 2 years ago, he had won it. And then, 2020, he had won it. I don't know if he did in 2019. I can check that out in a second. But 2020, he won it. And the only reason that I'm not picking Eagle to win it is, back in 2020, he lost by 12 strokes to Paul at this event. Obviously, he wasn't in the same position that he's in right now. He wasn't leading the event. It wasn't tied for lead or anything like that. But I think I'm not seeing the Eagle that we saw at the beginning of the season at Vegas. Like, that was just an incredibly dominant Eagle.
Yeah.
And I feel like he's not at that percentage right now.
The Texas swing didn't treat him well.
Exactly. And so I'm wondering, can he hold on to it? Can he keep up with it? We've obviously seen a really dominant Ricky.
Yes.
And we've seen a somewhat dominant Calvin, in the sense of Calvin, it seems like week in and week out now, is always in the mix. He's not winning
Calvin's
everything.
The Katrina Allen of MPO.
Exactly.
He's always there.
Yes, exactly. And so that's where I'm kind of like, I like that Calvin, Ricky, Paul, and it's a toss-up between those three. Obviously, Eagle could definitely take it down, but I would put my money on one of those three.
No, yeah. I'm on the same boat with you that the top four are probably going to be Eagle, Calvin, Ricky, Paul, and you could just roll the dice to figure out the order.
Yeah.
That seemed to be the storyline coming into this year. It seems to be the storyline with this one. Not that I don't think Ben Calloway could hold on. He could, and what a story that would be if he did.
Oh, God, yeah.
But I just don't expect it. I think Emporia Country Club, as it comes down the stretch, there's going to be a lot of pressure, and there's a lot of OB. And I think that there's just going to be too much that could go wrong. I think he's going to stay in the top 10. I expect Ben to finish probably around 7th or 8th place, if I had to guess. Chris could sneak up there. Kevin Jones also could, but I'm really expecting Eagle, Calvin, Ricky, Paul to kind of fill that top four in whatever order you're feeling. Because, I mean, the top guys in this sport, right now, the parity on the MPO side is just so exciting to me because it seems like every week we have those top four, with the exception, sometimes one of them will fall down. But you have the Eagle, Calvin, Ricky, Paul dynamic, and then someone always finds a way to sneak in. And that's just so exciting to me to see it where we don't have just Ricky and Paul dominating anymore. We don't have just, Calvin sneaking up in there every once in a while. We have like four guys that are always up there, and they're just exchanging blow for blow over and over and over and over again. And then you do have someone like Ben sneaking up there every once in a while. And I really like seeing that because I think there's the moment of there's the moments where a player dominating the sport is good for the growth of the sport and the exposure of the sport, kind of like Tiger Woods with golf is kind of what Paul did with disc golf. But then there's the moments of this parity is really good for people in the sport to keep you coming back week after week, because you don't have to just be like, oh, well, this is 2016, 2017, Ricky's about to win. Oh, this is 2015, Paul's literally about to win every single thing he ever shows up in. So I do like that, having that parity. And I do think we're in for a few exciting days out of the Emporia Country Club, but I think that it's Eagles' tournament to lose in my eyes right now.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're heading into too friendly of an Eagle course.
No, I totally get that. I mean, it's kind of cool. I'm looking at, the top 10 players, and the only two people that you don't really hear about all the time are Ben Callaway and Zacharias Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone else, I mean, obviously Eagle Calvin, Ricky Paul, Chris Dickerson, Kevin Jones, Drew Gibson, and Anthony Barella. Noah Mindsma, he's jumping up in there. He actually played really well at this event last year. But it is cool to see those couple of guys every tournament.
Yeah.
We had the Casey White for a few weeks, jumping up and making a run for those money. Like, I really do like seeing that underdog story. And I think Ben Callaway right now is in the best position. Like, Casey was leading at a national tour event after round 1. But then rounds 2 and round 3, Ricky just came out and just dominated it. We're looking at it right now. Like, Ben Callaway, after 2 rounds right now, is still tied for lead.
Mm-hmm.
In my head, I keep thinking this is a 3-round tournament, but it's not. So I'm curious to see after tomorrow where Ben sits. I think if Ben is
tomorrow's a key round.
If Ben is still sitting, it's moving day.
Yeah.
It's moving day. So if Ben is still sitting on the lead card after tomorrow within striking distance of a win, what an incredible Cinderella story that would be.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of really cool headlines going on right now. I mean, you have the whole Ricky situation,
Mm-hmm.
which is just insane. And so Ricky winning this would be absolutely incredible. Ben winning this would be absolutely incredible. Calvin and Paul don't have a big win yet this year. Calvin has a Silver Series event, and Paul has an A tier.
Yeah.
So you have storylines on those top 5 people. And same thing, Chris Dickerson. They're all right there. I mean, just a lot of cool headlines.
No, absolutely. Before we jump over to FPO, this is the final thing I'm going to ask you about MPO. I'm going to do another prediction thing. So I'm going to give you, I guess I'm going to go with 8 names.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we'll go with 8 names. And I want you to tell me which 3 are not getting USDGC spots. Okay, so these are all within striking distance, very, very within striking distance of them right now with 2 rounds to play. Some of them already are in that area. So we have Zacharias Johnson, Anthony Barella, Noah Miensma, Ezra Robinson, Brody Smith, Gavin Rathbun, Gannon Burr, and Andrew Presnell. Which 3 of those players are walking out of here not qualified?
I'm going to go with Ezra and Gannon. Excuse me, not Ezra. I'm going to think Andrew and Gannon are not going to walk away with spots. And then the last one is tough because you have, Ezra, Brody, and Gavin all right there. I think explosiveness-wise, I was watching Gavin's round yesterday, and he had a couple spit-outs, like bad ones. And then today it didn't seem like his putting was on. He's obviously got 4 bogeys. You take away those 4 bogeys, he had 22 down. Like, that's obviously shooting really well. Noah Mindsma has been playing the game for a little while. He's a good player. AB, obviously good player. I think Zacharias Johnson will solidify a spot unless he absolutely blows up. And that's what's tough because at Emporia Country Club, they can.
Yeah.
So I guess my last one to not get it out of...
And most likely someone will sneak up that's not on that
list.
list,
Exactly.
just
Someone
out
could
of those
obviously,
players.
Andrew Marweed could come back. I mean, right now it's 18 down is the cutoff spot.
Yeah, and we get
by tomorrow it'll
2
probably
rounds.
be 25 down.
Probably.
And then after the last round, it'll probably 30 to 31 down. You would think is what a USDGC spot will take, but
something like that.
I'm really curious if Brody's going to hold on, but I think if there is a player who might have a potential to miss out on it, it would be Brody. And the only reason I say that is just lack of tournament experience. But he doesn't lack tournament experience. Like, the guy has obviously played incredible at the sports that he's played in. He knows what that kind of pressure is. It all depends on weather. I mean,
yeah, a lot of it does depend.
There's a lot of key factors. I think this question would be a lot easier to answer tomorrow. Only in the sense of
all these predictions will be easier tomorrow.
Yeah. Only in the sense of okay, now they only have 2 rounds to do it. Yeah, Brody could shoot, 3 under tomorrow, but then shoot 9 down or 10 down the next day and jump back up into a spot. I think I don't know Ezra at all.
Ezra Robinson?
Yeah, I've never had a conversation with him. I don't think I've ever seen him play.
I get him and his brother confused. So he's the prodigy one. So I have played with him.
Okay.
He's pretty filthy. He's
a
young player. He can throw
bogey-free round today.
Far, very far. I think that's gonna kind of help him out here.
Bogey-free round.
Yeah.
And he started out on some of the easiest holes. He took pars on.
Yep.
And then the back 9, he shredded from 10 to 17.
Yep.
Got all of those.
Got all of them.
So, I mean, I kind of put him taking that last spot. So Brody and Gavin are going to have to do some work, I think, to match up with it.
So you have Brody, Gavin, and Andrew Presnell not getting it. Or was it Brody, Gannon, and Andrew Presnell not getting it?
I'm going to say Brody, Gannon, and Andrew.
So you're saying Brody, Gannon, and Andrew are not getting the spots.
Not getting it. Yeah,
okay.
I think Gavin will put up a pretty good run because Gavin crushes.
Yeah,
Gavin's been playing really well lately.
I'm pretty confident in Gavin because one thing that I like to see is when a player is up in like a position like Gavin and has some yellow or some orange on his scorecard. Because what that tells me is he's playing good, but he has potential to be playing better.
Yes.
So when you look at someone like Ezra, yeah, that was a sick round, bogey-free 9 down. But you don't see the easy mistakes to make up. Like Gavin started 5-4, and then on 16-17 was 4-4 when most of the people around him are getting those birdies.
2-2.
Yeah. And so you can see stuff like that to where that's 4 strokes right there that are probably pretty easy for him to get back and be shooting 11 down today.
Yeah.
So I'm with you on Gavin. I think Gavin is most likely going to be qualifying for a USDGC spot here. I'm actually going with a pretty bold prediction saying that Zachariah Johnson will not be.
You think he's going to drop off?
I think he's going to drop off. He went 10 down, 11 down.
Yeah.
I think he's playing really hot right now, but I think the switch to Emporia Country Club, I don't think he's going to drop far off. I think he's just going to drop down enough to where I'm having him not getting one. The tough part is Presnell could very easily. He's such a good player, but I think Presnell, I just don't think Emporia Country Club is going to be the spot that he gets it.
Yeah.
I don't see him sliding up in there. So I have Zachariah Johnson not getting it, Presnell not getting it. And
so Zachariah missed cash last year at this event. He shot 10 over. And obviously those
Now
were 3 rounds in Emporia.
Yeah.
You know, I totally get that. Don't get me wrong. But at the same time, I mean, he is in a really good position right now. Like,
he is.
Shot incredibly
He is in the
well.
driver's seat.
Yeah.
I'm just going with the bold prediction.
I could totally see AB blowing up.
Now,
though.
here's the tough part, right? Because Brody is obviously an owner of Foundation, very good friend of mine. I want him to get it. Gannon, team member of Foundation.
Yeah.
I want him to get it.
Exactly.
So I'm very partial in my choices right now.
Yes. That's the tough part about being friends with pro players. It's because you I want to root for Paul every single tournament to win it. There are some times where I'm like, I don't think Paul's going to win
Now, here's
this.
the thing about Gannon. Look at this. He shot a 7 down today, 3 bogeys, and an eagle, and the kid throws so far. I think I'm more confident in Gannon getting it than in Brody getting it, getting a USDGC spot. But I'm going to say they both get it.
Yep.
So I'm going to say that my third person not getting it is going to be
Ezra. Yeah, I know it's tough.
I think I'm gonna go Ezra. I think I'm going Ezra.
I could totally see AB blowing it up though.
See,
Don't
I could too.
Because you remember Worlds 2 years ago.
AB just crushes.
Yeah, I know.
So like AB could also just pop off and finish.
I
in the
love
top
AB.
4.
If for some odd reason he watches this, I have nothing but respect
So
for AB.
I'm going
but
Ezra not getting it, Zachariah Johnson and Andrew Presnell. Or I don't think I'm gonna go with them not getting the USDGC spot. I don't even know if I even said USDGC right then. I said USDGC.
blah, 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 blah.
So yeah, I mean that's definitely going to be a super fun storyline though to watch. And let's jump over to FPO. They are currently on hole 18 of their round. Looks like the lead card is finishing up.
You think
They're
Heather
on.
will bang this putt?
Oh, she has a. This is the putt on hole 18. We have Heather Young putting for birdie from circle 1, barely inside circle 1.
Cash.
Dead center.
It's insane. Her putting is.
Oh wait, now this says putting for par from circle 1. Putting for birdie from circle 1. UDisc is just jumping back and forth.
Whoever is doing their live scoring.
She is in the basket
freaking out
for birdie. That was a birdie from looks like the circle's edge, 33 feet.
Yep.
But
so
before
she's sitting 5th place right now.
as they kind of finish up their round, I want to talk a little bit about what they're going through right now. So, FPO yesterday started their round. Obviously, with the Pro Tour streaming schedule, the FPO starts their round later. So this is something that we've seen on MPO side before. I remember back at Idlewild, this has had to happen before. I don't know if we've seen it on FPO, where they actually, I believe it was hole 13 or possibly hole 14. I'm not sure exactly where they were on those 2 holes.
Around that.
They actually had to have their round called because it was too dark out. So there was a weather delay. It actually delayed the MPO some, but obviously pushed the FPO back more because they're the ones dealing with the darkness coming in.
Yeah.
And so FPO actually had to come back this morning. I believe it was around like 8 something in the morning, 7 something in the morning, and play out 5 holes of disc golf. The 5 holes that they are just finishing up right now. So they played, I believe it was 14 through 18, or maybe it was 13 through 18. They played those of round 1 this morning very early, and then had to, go back to their hotels, whatever, shower, rest up, and then kind of reset. For us normal, like average disc golfers, playing 2 rounds like that in a day, that's your normal C tier.
Yeah, exactly.
But when you're a player like, anyone that's on the Pro Tour week in and week out, that is not something that your body or your mind is used to doing. So having to wake up, go out there, be competitive for a stretch of 5 holes, which is a very decent amount of golf. Yeah. It's not like they had to just show up, play 1 hole, and go home. So they had to probably fully get warmed up, fully go through their routine to play 5 holes of golf, then go back, rest a little bit, get a shorter amount of rest than you're used to that morning, and then come back out and start your round back up. And it's something that not the whole field had to deal with either. That's an important note here, because if you're a little bit, depending on when you teed off, you might not have had to deal with that at all.
Yeah,
you might have been able to be in the clubhouse and not even have to get up this morning.
Early tee-offs, yep.
Yeah, which is weird because from what I understand, they definitely grouped them by score for the second round. So I'm not sure if this actually happened, but it could be someone like Macy Walker, who is yet again in contention.
Yep.
She might have teed off early enough yesterday. Again, I don't know if this is, I just picked a random person, where she's on the card with Katrina Allen, Haley King, and all of them, and but she didn't actually have to come back this morning. Kind of creates an interesting dynamic. It's kind of unfortunate when that has to happen, but you know why it has to happen, because I was actually yesterday, we just finished up shooting grip locked on, it was yesterday. Literally just finished it. Connor and I shot it. We walked away. I don't take 10 steps away from my desk, and I see the group chat with Paul and Brody kind of buzzing. I'm like, what's going on? So I look at it, and Paul's like, man, we are really close to that round 1 just being canceled.
Oh, jeez.
And I'm like, what the heck? Like, we literally just stopped recording. You can't be telling me something like this, Paul.
Yeah, right.
And I was like, so we were just messaging, like, what are you talking about? And he was explaining that basically if that storm rolled in before the MPO lead card tees off on 1, and it delays to where they never get a hole of golf in on the same day, then the whole round's canceled. The
entire field's round is canceled.
Yeah,
correct.
The whole MPO day 1's wiped.
Yeah.
But if they're able to get a throw off, they're able to tee off on hole 1 at all before it gets dark, which they were. Obviously, they got to play their whole round. If they're able to tee off at all, then they just get delayed until the next morning.
Yeah.
So it's a very interesting thing that can happen. There's no real way around it, I don't think.
Yeah.
We have someone in the chat saying 6 groups had to finish this morning. So there's no real way around it. But it is unfortunate for those 6 groups. So 6 groups, that's, come on, Hunter, math's easy, 24 players.
Yeah.
So, we have a 38-player FPO field. So it was the majority.
Majority of them definitely had to come back and do it this morning. Honestly, the conditions this morning, though, looked pretty good. I mean, it seemed like the conditions all day. It looked sunny. Everyone was wearing shorts. I'm assuming in the morning it was decent enough weather to go out there and still put up a good round. And so I'm curious how those players, how they did. I wish I had a list on like which one of them, had to come back out this morning. But at the same time, I mean, it's
a pretty hard thing to look back
at.
We would have had to take notes yesterday and figure that one out, which probably would have been smart considering we're doing a show right now. But regardless, definitely more of an interesting dynamic. But we can go ahead and kind of look over what is going on in FPO, look at the current standings. First thing I want to talk about, although it looks like she's struggling a little bit here on hole 18, is Macy Walker. We saw her at Jonesboro. Some of the questions that we were brought up is, was she planning on touring more? And was it a fluke kind of? Obviously, we didn't think so because the only loss she has this year is Jonesboro.
Yeah.
And it also seems like, she is planning on touring some because here she is again. So she's already Throw Pink's Women's Disc Golf Championship qualified from her finish at Jonesboro. Like I said, right now she is on the fairway after 3 holes. She doesn't have a chance for birdie at 18 to finish out, but she's shooting even par right now.
Yeah, potentially bogey.
Yeah, potential bogey to where potentially you can be finishing at a 1 under par. But she is going to still be, it looks like, on that lead card.
Yeah.
Because it looks like as of right now, Kona is rounding out the lead card for tomorrow, sitting at even par. She's already in the clubhouse shooting a 2 under par today. Kona actually had a really hot start.
Yeah, 4 down through 4.
Yeah, and then
Pretty
she
insane.
cooled off a little bit, went bogey par, or bogey birdie, bogey, birdie, and then unfortunately went bogey, bogey, birdie, bogey. So she was able to still get under par, though, today, which it seems like is a pretty good thing out here. Now, this is one of my, I want to say pet peeves, is I just don't like, and I don't really know if there's a good way around it, but I think Jonesboro, I always say how good of a job they do at this. But if you look at like the FPO scores, right now we have Katrina Allen leading at 10 under par. If you jump back over to the MPO score, we have Ben Callaway and Eagle and Calvin leading at 27 under par. I just don't like when there's that drastic of a difference between FPO and MPO.
So you're thinking, take some of those par fours, make them par fives kind of thing?
I don't know the best way to really do it because it's just a perception thing. The course doesn't actually get easier or harder if you just change the par. But the tough part is like,
didn't we have a big argument?
We had, we did. But the tough part,
leave in the comment, does changing the par make the course easier or harder? Because we had like an hour-long argument.
What's hard for me is like, let's say that we're talking about Katrina Allen and Haley King having a great round today. They're both putting for birdie to be 6 under par potentially. That is a great round on the FPO course and the FPO field. Meanwhile, we're talking about a 15 under par on the MPO side. So when you put them side by side and this conversation is happening at the same tournament, it just naturally makes the FPO rounds sound that much less impressive. When you look at the actual like field and what's happening, they should be almost just as impressive. Obviously, rating wise and stuff like that, there's a lot that goes in. But what happens at like Jonesboro is, I believe it was Paige last year shot like an 11 or 14 down or something crazy like that. When you say that, then people immediately go, oh, I really want to watch that round. She shot up, double digits under? That's crazy. Versus when you say, wow, like Katrina Allen popped off today. She shot a 6 under, assuming she makes this putt. That just doesn't cause that same excitement. That doesn't cause that same, holy cow, I want to go watch this, which I believe Central Coast is doing the post-produced coverage
on it. So, my thing with that is usually, like, I watched Katrina's 1040 rated round at Jonesboro because when someone tells me they shot 1040 rated, I don't care if it's 6 over par or 6 under par or 12 under par, whatever it is. Someone tells me they shot 1040 for an FPO player, then heck yeah, I'm going to watch it. That's a dominant performance by that FPO player. So, I mean, obviously watching Katrina lately, her putting has been a little bit of a struggle. I shouldn't say struggle. Like, she's only putting 56% today from the putting green in Circle 1X, but at the same time, she's in the basket for birdie. Both Haley and her got in the basket for birdie, so they both shot 6 down today. I mean, I get what you're saying, though. I mean, it's two different divisions. Like, so let's talk NBA, WNBA. An NBA game now is probably going to average out almost 105 points plus. That's just the type of scoring NBA that it is right now with that small ball game. They're scoring a lot. A WNBA game, and I could be totally wrong on this, but you might see 80, 85 points at it. And so it's almost like, is it better defense that they're playing, or is their offense just lacking in the sense of where NBA players are playing better offense kind of thing? So 6 down round, I mean, let's say that's 10-20 for Katrina and Haley to shoot that today. I'll watch the post-produce and see how they did that. You know, because that's pretty awesome. I mean, look at Maria Olivia jumped up 10 spots today, or 11 spots today, and she shot 4 down. She's sitting 2 over par overall, but I mean, that's still anyone shooting under par in Kansas for the FPO division. There was only 4 players who did it. 3 players shot even par, but only 4 players finished under par, which is pretty incredible. A hot round was only 6 down. So curious ratings wise what that's going to be.
But I think to your argument with the WNBA, with what we're seeing right now in disc golf, obviously it's different because the WNBA season happens at a different time than the NBA season. Even if you look at a more close comparison, which is like the PGA and the LPGA, the tournaments aren't happening on the same courses at the same time. I think that's where my confusion is, right? Because we're literally looking both at Jones Gold. We're looking at the exact same courses, the exact same day, the exact same everything. And so then when you hear Ricky shot 15 under at Jones Gold and you hear Katrina Allen shot 6 under at Jones Gold, you can look at the ratings and stuff like that. But people don't typically, unless the rating's crazy high, you know, if it is that 1040 or even like a 1020 or something like that, then the rating gets brought in. But if we're just talking scores and I come up to you and I'm like, she shot 6 down. And in the same breath, I'm like, Ricky set the course record at 15 down. You're more excited to watch the Ricky round. Whereas if they both are like, Katrina Allen shot 13 under and Rick shot 15 under. Then I'm more like, holy cow. I don't know what the right answer is. I just always, whenever I look at FPO and MPO scores when we're at the same courses, and there's this huge disparity in them. It's just always something of like, to me, I see that as another kind of roadblock to trying to get the sport to be more exciting and more support surrounding the FPO field.
Well, I mean, take a look at, when we go back to Vegas, you had Paige and Katrina dominating the event. Third place was almost 20 strokes out of it. So you had a battle going on in that division. Like, it literally came down to hole 18 in that division. And so GMC last year, you had Haley King and Paige Pierce going at it. Came down to like hole 17 or 18 or something like that. Like I said, I don't care if they're 2 over par or 6 under par.
Well, that's a different
thing.
thing.
If they're battling it out.
If there's a battle.
If there's a cool story going along with it, heck yeah, I'm going to watch it.
Yeah.
I mean, like I love watching disc golf just in general. You have a 3-stroke advantage right now going to Katrina, but Haley's keeping up. I love to see it. I mean, and both of them had the same thing to where, I should say, Haley had 2 double bogeys today, and Katrina had 1 double bogey with 1 regular bogey.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I totally get what you're saying, though. I think that's kind of the difference in, I guess, the difference in play of the MPO division and the FPO division, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
I think one thing I hate, I don't care for the idea of just going out there and changing the par. Like, I think, yes, to a point, it's cool to see them shoot birdies. I get that. I like that. I do think courses should be designed differently, and I'm not saying easier.
I think that's what Jonesboro...
for people who are going to come out with me and, say anything bad, I'm saying they should be designed differently.
Well, I think that's what Jonesboro, and I've actually heard some FPO players say this, where Jonesboro did a really good job at it, is they designed the course, like they designed the FPO specifically like thanking FPO. Not that Dynamic didn't do that, because I haven't seen this course. But that's where I think that one of the goals in the growth of the sport should be getting FPO to a place where it is able to sustain its own tour. So then each stop that they're able to go to is set up specifically for them. Yeah. Because if you have MPO and FPO coming in town, it's tough to really put focuses on the needs of FPO and the layout of the course and stuff like that, because your hands are kind of tight, because you're trying to design 2 different things. Even the like sponsor placements, if you have 2 different tees, you don't have enough sponsor things to go around
the whole place.
Yeah, there's a lot of it, and even the coverage is split. Like everything is split. I don't know. I could be completely way off on that. That's just what my thought has always been. Is like, I think one of our goals should be to get FPO big enough and sustainable enough to be able to have its own tour, so that when FPO rolls in, they are the main focus. They are the focus on that weekend, to where there's not even an MPO tournament happening that same weekend on the Elite Series. To where
I think
all the coverage, everything is focused on that.
I think we're 10 years away from that.
I agree.
At a minimum,
I don't think we're close.
Yeah, I don't think we're anywhere close.
It's exciting to see fields like 38.
Yeah.
But realistically, you need 38 players that are consistently out there every single weekend.
Exactly.
And then the fields
weekend
are pushing that 50 to 75.
And I think one of the hardest things with that as well is the travel partners that there are in disc golf right now. Like a lot of people are kind of like caravanning that van life together right now.
Yeah.
And so you have FPO players and MPO players helping each other out, getting Airbnbs together, riding in the vans together.
There's a lot of roadblocks. I just am thinking...
No. Ideally, though, like we're talking utopia of disc golf, 100%. 2 different tours where they were both successful in their own way.
Exactly.
That would be absolutely amazing. I would love to watch that.
But yeah, let's look at kind of what's going down with the FPO. So right now the leaderboard sits with Katrina Allen at 11 under par, Haley King sitting at 8 under par, Macy Walker at 2 under, and then we have Kona sitting at even. We also have Heather Young rounding out the top 5 at 1 over. Most likely we're going to see the winner come from Katrina Allen or Haley King. I don't just say that because of the scores, but also because of who those 2 players are.
Agreed.
And the fact that we're going into Emporia Country Club. These are the farthest 2, well, I can't say the farthest because Jennifer Allen is in the field. These are the most consistently far controlled players in the field, in this specific field. Paige Pierce is absent. She is in Hawaii kind of resetting and refocusing, coming back, I believe, at the OTB Open in a few weeks here. But yeah, so I just think this is kind of how you expected it to shake down with Katrina Allen and Haley King up top. Haley King has not been performing as well as I've expected throughout the year. This is kind of what I was expecting to see her week in and week out. She has got that national tour win, but it seems like she's been kind of hit or miss a little bit.
Exactly.
Yeah. Where she's there one week and she's not the next. A player that has been surprising me all year, but she doesn't sound like she's been surprising herself, is Kona Panis.
Oh, yeah.
She's back in the conversation yet again.
Yep.
She's a player that could definitely push to a podium finish, possibly even challenge the top 2. I don't think she could challenge the win. She's 11 strokes out of it right now. chasing down Haley and or Katrina on Emporia Country Club is going to be tough, but she might be able to chase down one of them over the next 2 rounds.
Yeah.
It would take a lot, but I do think that she'll be able to chase down Macy Walker possibly out there. It is exciting, though, to see Macy back up here. It seems like kind of like a Ben Calloway type player where these courses must just fit her game. It'll be interesting to see how she plays when we get to a little bit more wooded style golf.
Yeah, so we were talking about, actually, speaking of Macy earlier, we were saying that she was on the fairway after 3 throws. I forgot they changed the par. It's a par 5 on 18.
Okay, yeah.
So she ended up parring it. So she's actually still sitting 2 under par. So she's one of the 3 players under par throughout the tournament. Obviously playing incredible. I think right now it's going to be a battle between her, Heather Young, and Kona Panis for that 3rd place spot, that podium finish. Pretty cool thing with that, too, is Haley doesn't have a spot for Throw Pink Women's Disc Golf Championship yet. So and Heather are actually the 2 players battling for that spot.
It's pretty safe to say that Haley is going to get one.
Haley's going to get one.
She has 9 strokes to lose.
Yeah, exactly.
To drop out of that.
Freak accident, she had a DNF or something.
Yeah, something crazy would have to happen.
I would, put a lot of money on saying that Haley is going to get a Throw Pink event this week.
Heather's spot, though, is a little bit more interesting because she's sitting at 1 over. Right below her is the Maria Olivia, who or
shot 4 down today. Yeah, I think it's Oliva.
Maria. She
Hannah
shot 4 down
later
today.
saying I pronounced it wrong.
Yeah,
so.
4 down today. So she gained 4 strokes on Heather Young. She's right back in this thing for that Throw Pink spot. We have Emily Beach right in it, Missy Gannon, Kat Mersch. They're a little bit farther out of it, but all those players are within 5 strokes.
2 more rounds.
2 more rounds. That's really not that far. So that second spot is going to be a very interesting storyline because there's a lot more in contention for that, even than in contention for the lead.
Yeah.
So as the event kind of goes on, I'm going to be looking heavily at that second spot there, seeing kind of who's able to shake out with it. I do think it's kind of interesting, though, that we're putting so much emphasis on an A tier. Like I'm just surprised that the PDGA didn't make that a major, or at least an elite series of some type. Yeah,
exactly. I don't know all the details that go in and on that. I actually didn't even know it was an A tier. I do remember reading some small article on it, but it sounded.
It's they still have the women's national, which is a major, and then in addition they have.
Where's that being held now? Is that still in California this year?
I believe so. I believe it's in May, end of May.
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of where the confusion comes down. Yeah. Because the last follow-up, I was calling this women's nationals because it happens at USDGC. It would kind of make sense for it. It was last year, so it would kind of make sense for it to still be. But I don't know. It's definitely something interesting, like a kind of interesting dynamic.
Yeah.
I don't really understand what all's going into that decision because we're obviously emphasizing it a lot, and it's a storyline we're going to follow a lot. Obviously, when the time rolls around and women's nationals is here, we'll cover that and everything. But the Throw Pink seems to be a storyline kind of throughout the whole year that everyone's following.
So potential big battles for the Throw Pink stuff, but let's kind of dive into the player stats. I love this on UDisc, actually, especially when I'm looking at it on my laptop because there's just so much that you can look at.
There's so many stats to break down.
We've talked about Katrina Allen is just a wonderful thrower of the disc.
Yep.
And
week
she's
after week
that
after week after week.
Again, she's gained the most strokes from tee to green at 9.54. This is talking about this round. I guess let me do all rounds, actually.
I would imagine you're still going to see her at the top.
How do I do that?
Yep.
There we go. So she's sitting at 19.66. The actual little change up that happened was for round 2, Haley King was the second best gain tee to green player, but Jennifer Allen actually throughout the events is the second best tee to green thrower at 14.16, Haley being at 13.95. The biggest advantage, though, right now, and I think this is the reason why Haley is in the event and she's just a few strokes back, is her gained putting versus Katrina Allen is absurd. So Katrina Allen is sitting at 1.66 for gained putting. Haley King throughout the event is sitting at 6.37.
Almost offsetting the gain tee to green.
Exactly. Just pretty much. Like, they're playing so well in their own respected areas. I think the biggest thing that we can talk about, it's a 3-stroke game. Haley has 2 OB strokes more than Katrina does. Now you're talking a 1-stroke gain. You know what I mean? Like, it's small stuff like that to where, it's a battle. I love to see it.
What's kind of surprising me is for this tournament how low – let me look at round 2, actually. How low Katrina Allen's putting percentage is because I didn't get to catch a ton of her round today. But what I did see was a pretty confident-looking Katrina Allen on the green, and yet it's only showing a 56%.
Yeah, she didn't have an incredible putting day, but –
she looked confident out there.
Yeah.
So I guess she missed 1, 2, 3, 4.
Mm-hmm.
So there was just a lot of tap ins.
Yeah.
But I mean, some of the circle 1 and even circle 2 putts she was hitting, she looked very confident in doing so. So I am kind of confused with that, because it looked like her mindset was confident, and yet it didn't exactly translate to circle 1X putting today, or even for this tournament. She's at 61%. But yeah, it is a very interesting thing. If you look at the round 2 today, gain tee to green, first, second, third place is our first, second, and third place players.
Mm-hmm.
So no one was really gaining traction on them off the tee today. But like you said, that gained circle 1X, or gained putting in general, is very telling, and something that you're not really surprised to see is Heather Young leading the field in that aspect.
Exactly. That's what I was just about to say. Heather Young, I would put leading that. She'd be top 3 putting every single tournament, unless she's just having an awful time. But for the most part, she's always going to be in the top of gained putting. Her biggest issue is she doesn't have as much distance as someone like Haley and Katrina do.
Yeah.
Katrina and Haley both throw very far. They're very, very good throwers. And Haley, especially with the sidearm, is just deadly with it.
She has some of the best forehand form, period.
Yeah, exactly.
Not just FPO.
I love it, yeah.
Period.
Where Heather really makes up all of her strokes is on that putting green. But at the same time, you can see what a disadvantage she's at right now when you go back and look at the scores with it.
17 strokes gained tee to green.
Exactly. She's 12 strokes out of the lead right now.
Yeah.
But putting-wise, she's putting incredibly well. Like, I mean, today, 92% circle 1X.
Her circle 1X for the tournament is 95%.
Have you ever done that at a pro tour?
Heck no.
I haven't. Actually, technically, I have. But
my win percentage is probably higher than my circle 1X putting in my career. But yeah, 95%. Nice. Let's go to MPO. Yeah. I just want to look at, okay, there are a few players that are 100% in MPO. That would put her in the top 5. I'd have her tied for like top 7 putters for the entire tournament right now.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. 95%. The next closest is, this might come as a surprise. It came as a surprise to me when I just read it. Sarah Hokum is in second circle 1X putting right now. I feel like she's not normally known for her putting. Am I wrong in that?
She's definitely not known for her putting. I think she does have tournaments where her putting is just on really good. I think one of her biggest issues is putting in the wind. She has kind of that very lofty push putt.
Let it kind of fall into the basket.
You know, she came on the Nick and Matt show a few weeks back, and she did say that she's working on that spin putt, which potentially, if that's what she's rocking now, is definitely helping her out. Sarah's improving. Sarah has been a consistent player throughout her whole career. And she had said it, Gary Gerthy said it on the show, they're finally taking that like, hey, I'm a predominant forehand player. Clearly, I need to be able to throw a backhand.
Yeah.
And now she's really working on throwing a backhand. And we actually saw it at one of the Silver Series events. The what was the one in Arkansas? Do you remember the name of it? The Silver Series?
Oh, the Silver, was it? No, it wasn't the Open at Belton.
No.
It was right after that.
Yeah, I can't think of the name of it right now.
And before Mid-America.
But Calvin won it. Hold on. The Vintage Open.
Vintage, yep.
Okay. First year that I've ever really heard of that event. But Sarah did say that for that event, she really wanted to work on her backhand, and you could see it in the coverage that she did. It was, thrown very well. But definitely not known for her putting, but I think it's something that if it is working, she's going to score pretty well.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I definitely am excited to see what Heather Young is able to do again, kind of like I said with Nathan Queen, as disc golf kind of moves to the woods later in the season, and it does get a little bit shorter, a little bit more technical.
Yeah,
I'm definitely excited to see what Heather Young's capable of, because it's hard when you are for the event losing 17 strokes, gain tee to green to the leader. It's hard to be in contention, and yet she's sitting in 5th place. She's not in contention. She's 12 strokes out of the lead. But
hey, kudos for her.
You
want to know why? Because I mean, honestly, if she jumps up into that 4th place, that's a pretty good cash purse that she'll probably get.
Yeah, and not to mention if she's in 4th place, she's definitely qualified for Throw Pink Women's.
Exactly. I think she's someone, honestly, especially as we move towards the East Coast of disc golf, I think that she's definitely someone who will more than likely get that spot in the Throw Pink event.
Yeah.
I wouldn't really be too worried about that for her, but at the same time, I am very curious to see. I mean, like last year at this event, 4th place took $900. Not too bad. I mean, for Heather Young, who obviously is not known for distance, 5th place. So that was tied 4th and 5th. No, that was tied 3rd, 4th. So 5th place tied was $550.
Just like a $400.
So I mean, yeah, $400 difference, and I mean, honestly, that's a pretty good payday. I don't know her travel situations or anything like that, But at the same time, for her to go out and play these courses that obviously are not suiting her strength and to still be able to do well at them enough to get to that next tournament with a little extra money, that's a pretty good thing. Because if she's young, she can develop that form. She can develop that power to potentially push herself to the next level distance-wise. I'm just curious to see when that's going to happen. But she's the best putter for the FPO players.
Oh,
I think without a doubt. The only one who I would put in contention of is such a phenomenal putter is Haley. Haley has an incredible putt.
I was gonna say Owen Scoggins, but she's really this tournament. Where is she at putting wise? 77% putting.
Yeah.
So still decently up there. Her name's always seems to be up there.
Yep.
But I agree with you. I mean, Haley King, 86% Circle 1X putting right now, and it does seem like Haley King's putting. It does typically seem like that's the direct correlation as to where she's sitting on the leaderboard. Because she normally is a great thrower of the disc. She still is pretty far up there right now. Actually, she's dropped a little bit lower. Leading the field at fairways hit is Sarah Hokum at 79%. Heather Young and Haley King are tied at 71%. A little bit farther down there, but 8 percentage points when you're looking across 2 rounds. Yeah. It's really not that much. It's a stroke or two here or there. But Haley King does seem to have her performance pretty closely tied to how she's doing on the green. So in a tournament like this where she is able to rack up 86%, no surprise to see her pushing towards the top.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and jump over to our predictions. It's pretty much a 2-horse race at this point.
Yep.
As we head into Emporia Country Club for the final 2 days, who do you think is taking it down?
I think Katrina is taking it down. I'm rooting for Haley to take it down. But I think we talked about those with Ricky too. I think Katrina's just got so much confidence right now in her game and her putting and her just in disc golf in general. She's playing incredible.
Yeah.
And she's doing everything right. And if she can keep putting at 60%, the way she's throwing gain strokes tee to green, she's going to win the tournament.
Yeah.
If her putting is even better than 60%, she's going to murder everyone at this tournament.
It'll be interesting to see if she can have another one of those pop-off rounds.
Yeah,
like she did at Jonesboro.
I'm really curious too.
Where she just kind of pulls ahead.
But I think this is definitely going to be Katrina and Haley. They're going to both shoot under par tomorrow, and I think they're just going to, at this point, blow away the competition. I think the biggest battle that I'm kind of looking forward to watching as well is the Kona-Macy battle going on right now. I mean, obviously, Kona shot 2 strokes better than Macy, but right now Macy's in the lead by 2 strokes over Kona. So, but if you look at this, Kona's putting today, 91% Circle 1X with hitting 3, 5, 7, 10 different putts. 27-footers, 16-footers, 27, 16, 16s, all those. So she's obviously putting really well. She's putting with confidence. And Kona has incredible form. She's worked a lot on her forehand as well. Macy, besides for watching the coverage, I don't really know too much about Macy yet and her kind of like style of play. What does she really like? Obviously, right now, she just seems like it's literally, I figured, the FPO version of Chris Dickerson. Comes out of Tennessee, just murders the Tennessee scene, murders this East Coast area, gets out on the road, and is just consistently doing well.
So that's who I always called Heather Young. Was the Chris Dickerson of FPO.
Okay.
But I mean, a very similar. They both come out of Tennessee.
Yeah, exactly.
Too.
Like is Heather from Tennessee? Yeah, Heather is from Tennessee as well.
And she's Prodigy sponsored.
That's a good point.
There's a little bit more connections.
Yeah, there is. Yeah, I know. You're right.
There's 2 Chris Dickersons in FPO.
Apparently you got to be born and raised in Tennessee to be just really good at disc golf.
Yeah, just to come out and be consistently good.
Exactly.
There must be a lot of good golf happening in Tennessee is what we're learning.
No doubt.
So I mean, I
think those are the big battles. With Heather as well. I mean, it's a close race going for that 4th place spot.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, it's really close. You have some OGs. You got the Sarahs, the Jennifer Allens, and then you got the young guns. You got Kona, Heather, and Maria. Emily Beach, I honestly, no disrespect to her, but I've no idea who she is.
I feel like I've heard that name before, but
she's 3 over. I mean, she's only 3 strokes out of 4th place. There's still 2 more rounds.
Yeah.
It could be 20 plus mile per hour wins tomorrow. So, who knows? I mean, 2nd place could even be in contention with bad enough weather. There's no doubt in my mind that some big rounds could happen.
Let's actually, I'm about to give my predictions. Why don't you go ahead and look up the weather of what it's about to look like tomorrow. So I'm going to agree with you that Katrina Allen, I think, is going to end up taking it down. She has a 3-stroke lead, and with how good she is at throwing, I don't think Haley King's going to be able to catch it. I could be completely wrong there. Haley's definitely going to stay in 2nd. It's definitely Katrina and Haley. I think that I agree with you that they're going to pull ahead. I would expect them to have the hot round tomorrow and the hot round on the final day. Going to come out of one of those 2, I would expect. I'm going to stick with my gut. I think Kona Panis is going to jump into 3rd. I think that this course is going to suit her well. Although I do think that Macy Walker is going to hang on to fourth.
Yeah.
I don't think Macy's going to go anywhere. Heather Young, I'm hoping that she holds on to that throw pink women's spot. But like you said, I'm not too worried. She's going to qualify for it at some point throughout the season. So, but yeah, I'm taking Kat first place, Haley second, Kona third. I think that's kind of how it's going to shake down. So what's the weather going to be looking like as we head into these final 2 days?
So I'm kind of kicking myself in the butt that I can go to Emporia right now because tomorrow is only 10-mile-per-hour winds. I hate the wind. I've said it before. I'd much rather play in the rain than the wind. But 10 miles per hour is actually it's not terrible.
Yeah. Like, it might be able to have some gusts up to like 15, and it's probably going to feel a little stronger at Emporia Country Club
because of the wide openness.
Yeah,
I totally get that.
10. I mean, I feel like normally we're looking at it and we're seeing like closer to 20s.
Now we're hitting Saturday, 81 degrees, cloudy, humidity 43%, 0% precipitation, but wind is at 21 miles per hour.
Okay.
So now Saturday's going to make for a big day.
Yeah.
If it stays like that and gusts up to 30 miles per hour, that's going to make for a hell of a final round. If someone breaks away from the tournament tomorrow, that person's going to win. You know what I mean? Like if someone has a 3, 4, 5 stroke lead tomorrow, I think that person wins the tournament only in the sense of they have a safer area to play in the wind. We saw it in Vegas. Eagle had such a lead at the beginning of the tournament within the first 6 holes. Everyone else now has to push so much harder. Paul has to push harder. Calvin has to push harder. Ricky. So they have to throw these way more aggressive shots to get onto the green. Eagle's like, hey, I just go PD, I go MD3, and then I'm on the green. I can throw an upside down tilt and still win the tournament.
Yeah.
Like that is the luxury of having a lead on these kind of windy days. So that's what I'm figuring. Whoever pulls away tomorrow, I think is going to take down the tournament, especially 20 plus miles per hour wind.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think tomorrow it's obviously moving day, so players already are in that mindset, but tomorrow is the day. It's when if you're Paul, you can't wait till the final day to turn on McBeast mode.
No, exactly.
You've got to do it tomorrow. If you're Ricky, tomorrow is the day to take over that spot. If you are Haley, tomorrow is the day to get a few stroke lead on Kat. Because normally I'm in the mindset of I would rather be the player. If I'm going to the final day, I think I'd rather be back a stroke or two to where I don't have the pressure of keeping a lead. I have the pressure of gaining a lead. If it's windy out, I'm the exact opposite. I want the cushion. I want to be able to be like, look, I can just lay this up. Just play smart. I can afford it right now. You want that cushion if it is windy out. So 20-mile-an-hour winds on Saturday is definitely going to make for a very interesting final day. That round will be free on YouTube to watch live.
Yep.
There's nothing like live disc golf.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Especially more than likely, I could put money on it that we're going to see Eagle, Calvin, Ricky, and Paul on that final round.
And it's going to be a tight match.
Exactly.
Even if it doesn't look like it going into the final day, they'll find a way to make it tight.
Exactly. And I think if it's only 10 mile per hour wind in Emporia tomorrow, I think we're going to see some massive scores.
Yeah.
Like 1070, you're going to have to play 1065 plus ready golf tomorrow to get onto that lead card. And I'm really curious because Ben Callaway obviously today dominated, played really freaking well.
Yeah.
If he can do the same thing tomorrow, I would love to see Ben still on that lead card.
I would too.
I'm excited to watch the post-round production and just see what pretty much happened today. But at the same time, like
I think
tomorrow's another scoring day on moving day, which is pretty crazy to see in Emporia calm weather like this.
I'm saying Emporia Country Club, I think, is the same thing where it's designed with wind in mind.
Yeah.
So to have yet another day where there's not going to be that much wind, you're going to probably see again some 13, 14, 15 under pars tomorrow. And more than likely, it's going to be coming from the same guys up towards the top.
Yeah.
And then the final day, that's going to be the day. That's going to be the day where it all kind of breaks free, and even if you're within 3 or 4 strokes of the lead, you might have a shot at it. So it's definitely going to create a very interesting Saturday where we might have 6 or 7 players in contention going into Saturday on the MPO side. FPO, it's going to be a 2-horse race.
Yeah.
We're going to have Katrina and Haley
we're going to be back in the 2-horse race. Which, not
fingers
gonna lie,
crossed that one of them doesn't just super pull ahead.
Yeah, exactly. No, I love seeing a battle. Believe me, I don't care to see people. I mean, you got to love dominance. You have to respect dominance in a certain way. Like if Katrina was to just blow out, like shoot everything perfect tomorrow and just have a 10-stroke lead going into the final day, you got to respect that because she's playing incredible. But at the same time, it is a very, very fun thing to watch battles. And I think right now we have 2 great battles going on.
Yeah.
So hopefully after tomorrow we have the same thing. I mean, I'm curious if I'm looking at the weather now, if it's really not that bad. I mean, Kevin Jones is 6 strokes out of the lead right now.
Mm-hmm.
he could pop off for that, 13, 14.
No,
round.
yeah, I mean,
he's one of those players who just he has a
knowing-
great backhand, forehand.
knowing that Saturday's coming, knowing that super wind is coming, if you're in the top 10, if you're A, B, or higher, you are in this event.
Yeah.
7 strokes out with 2 rounds to go, and one of them being 20-mile-an-hour winds, consistent winds, where there might be gusts up to 30 or something. You're in this event.
Yeah.
You're sitting there, and tomorrow I just need to chip away 2 or 3, maybe 4 strokes, so that I'm within 3 or 4 strokes going to the final day, and I'm right there.
So now that you know that it's not going to be too windy tomorrow, do you change any of your USDGC picks? Because I'm curious, because I got Zachariah Johnson obviously playing really well right now. With another calm day tomorrow, I can't see him dropping out unless he just really blows up. But honestly, after these first 2 rounds, I mean, does the guy even have a bogey yet?
He doesn't today.
He didn't today. He didn't yesterday.
So no bogeys
He's got
yet.
no bogeys going on the whole tournament right now.
I'm
He's
sticking
just
with
playing
it.
Sneaky, smooth, good golf.
The main thing, I just want to see Gannon and Brody qualify.
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah. Yeah. There are players that I definitely want to see qualify. Without a doubt.
I just want Gannon at USDGC as a 16-year-old.
Yeah.
Like, that'd just be so cool.
Exactly.
And Brody...
When was... I know Will won it at, what, 18?
Was he that young?
I think so. I think Will won it at 18 or 19.
Good night.
But I'm curious, what's the youngest player to ever play at
USDGC? Gannon is basically a reincarnation of Will.
Yeah.
Like, he is the prime Will Shoestrick back on the course.
With a better putt.
Yeah. Well, a similar putt, but it goes in more.
But it goes in more.
It's like a good Will putt.
Okay.
Like when Will was hot with his putter.
Yeah.
The 2012, 2014.
Crazy if Will, imagine 2012, 2013, 2014 Will. Or, let's say, because that was kind of like the Paul dominance era. Let's go 2009, 2010, 2011. Will Shoestrick was the highest rated player in the world. Yeah. Incredible.
Him and
2010,
Nico.
He had won USDGC for the first time. Give him Paul or Ricky's putt, and you have a stupidly, freakishly dominant player. The only thing Will couldn't incredibly do was forehand.
Yeah. I was going to say, how much would that limit him in today's field?
That would limit him more, but at the same time, you would see, with Will's prime form, you would see him tee to green winning almost every single tournament. Just because, especially tournaments like this where... Does it seem like there are a lot of holes that are forehand dominant? I mean, at a course like this,
you can kind of choose what you want.
Yeah. Or he could throw turnover backhands. And so that's where, we're talking, what ifs. Same thing. We're talking about a perfect disc golf world. But at the same time, you have Gannon coming up in the scene, who I've heard people say that he is kind of like that Will Shoestrick kind of builds, kind of throw and everything like that.
With a forehand.
Dial in that putt. And then now you just have a freakishly dominant player.
Yeah, Gannon is definitely... I'm stoked that we were able to sign him. He is a scary good, almost 16-year-old. Yeah. He'll be 16 a week from tomorrow.
He didn't get out to New London yet. It didn't open up when
he was here. No, it wasn't
here,
open
right?
when he was here. It wasn't open when he was
right.
here.
It was the week after or something like that.
But, yeah, I'm very excited to watch him. And there's a number of other players that are similar skill level to him, kind of around that same age group. It's definitely going to be fun to watch them, but to see someone that young consistently every pro tour he's showing up to, he's in the top 20 at some point. That's crazy. That's unfathomable for me to think of being in high school and having to go do homework after shooting a 7 down and being in 18th place at a pro tour event. And
not just once. He did the same thing at Waco.
Yeah.
And then did he play Jonesboro?
He might have dropped out. No, did he?
He did kind of average at Jonesboro, right?
He did play Jonesboro. He dropped out of Mid-America, I believe, to rest his knee. He kind of twinged his knee. Nothing serious, but did drop
that's
out.
smart. I think a lot of players actually did that. I was actually just watching Kevin Jones's little vlog that he did over at Mizzou, and he had said, he was like, if it's not being played at Harmony Bends, I'm just going to drop out of it. Because honestly,
it's really unfortunate what happened with that.
It was, and I was kind of talking about this in the Nick and Matt show, with Harmony Bends being such an incredible course that I really, really want to see incredible coverage of incredible players play that event.
Yeah.
Are we ever going to see that as a pro tour, though? Because of the conditions that can potentially happen year in and year out.
I don't know enough about that course.
I can't see that because of these flooding conditions. Even last year when they played the Mid-America Open as well, they had to cancel some of the round. They could only play like 12 or 13 holes.
Is it just like kind of like Sandusky where it just floods all the time?
I guess that's kind of the way that it happens. But
interesting.
That's why I can't see it becoming a pro tour, because then you have a pro tour and an incredible event. That's like, say we have the pro tour at Maple Hill. Maple Hill floods out, and then we got to go to Newton Hill. Newton Hill is just a park course that
It's awful.
is
I'm just
broken
kidding. I have
glass
no idea
everywhere.
what it is.
I mean, it's not great. It's fun. I like it. If you're from Massachusetts, it really is an enjoyable
Well, I mean,
course. But that's the comparison of you're going from a top level course to your average park course now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the course that they play for Mid-America, it didn't look like it was anything special. It just looked like a fun park course that was on a
pro
piece
tour,
of land.
If this is a pro tour, not a Silver Series, I'd imagine they would have just canceled the event. Like, what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
Because like let's say like Beaver State Fling, let's say that all went down, which there might be more courses in Oregon. It might be a slightly different situation. But let's say that all went down a week before, where that storm rolled through a week before, and now you're sitting there without being able to use that course. What are you gonna do? Like if that was here
A week before though, do you cancel it? Everyone's already out there.
what else would
Everyone's
you
already
do?
booked their Airbnbs. Now you have all these places. One of the biggest things that I appreciate about Jeff Spring is he is diehard trying to help out every single touring disc golfer that's out on the road. He is making sacrifice of like, oh, this tournament just got canceled. Boom, let's do this one because you guys were already all planning there. People have bought tickets. People have planned Airbnbs. Like, it's disc golfers right now, a majority of them are not in a position to where like, crap, that tournament just got canceled. Okay, I can't get my cancellation fee from the Airbnb. Okay, that flight, I can't get refunded anymore because flights are almost impossible to get refunds on now. So, I mean, you're talking about thousands of dollars.
I'm not saying canceled the whole event. I'm saying canceled as a pro tour.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's why I don't see that event ever becoming a legitimate pro tour.
But I'm saying that could happen in any course.
Yeah.
Like, let's say,
but that one's known for it though.
Yes,
that's what I mean. That one's known for it.
That's probably why it was a Silver Series. It's probably because they're like, well, we just
and it's Hannah and I were talking about this because it absolutely sucks for the staff because they put all the incredible hard work in. John Houck designed the course. I mean, you got John Houck, one of the greatest course designers in the world, helps design the course, and they don't get to utilize it.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a bummer. But anyways,
no, it is for sure. But yeah, I think that's going to wrap up the follow-up show. Hopefully you've enjoyed this show. Like I said, normally we're going to do it after the second to final round so that you can kind of get a little bit of a preview before you head into the final round that will be free. Tomorrow's round will be live on the Disc Golf Network, and then the final round will be free on YouTube on the Disc Golf Pro Tours channel. Definitely check it out. Like I said, there's nothing quite like watching live disc golf. And I've heard a lot of people in the past be like, I just can't watch live. The quality's not there. I've been a huge fan of what the Pro Tour's been putting out this year, especially this event. They have the commentating staff on the course. They've got Big Germ in the booth, Philo in the booth, Ian, Hannah Macbeth. They've got a very solid group.
They have a star-studded lineup of commentators going on right now.
But Terry, not Ian. Sorry, I was thinking
No,
USDGC.
Ian's there. Terry was doing FPO with Hannah today.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure.
Yes, I think Ian was doing MPO.
MPO, yeah. Ian did. Ian, what do you feel about the three people doing commentary? Do you think that that's too much almost?
No, I like it, but just I wish the shot had all three in it.
Yeah,
that's my only complaint.
I
like the mix.
Yeah, so I'm so weird when it comes to commentary. I just want to hear like what's going on in the course.
I do think
one thing that they did. I think it was today, maybe yesterday. I forget exactly. I think it was yesterday actually. But they got on the albatross tangent. And then for like 10 minutes, we're talking about Philo's albatross. Don't get me wrong. One of the greatest shots in disc golf, the greatest shot that's ever been filmed. I don't want to hear that when Eagle's lining up something like Eagle just parked a hole with a roller.
Yeah.
I might have missed that. Talk about that, please. Like, how is he
that
putting
is
for
where
Eagle?
In disc golf, it's been an issue more so in the past years than it has been this year. I think they've done a better job aligning it. But it has been a struggle in the past to have someone strictly be color and someone strictly be play-by-play.
Yeah.
To where you show up and your job is everything that happens on the course, walk us through it. And then if I'm the color guy, ask me about what's going on.
Yeah.
That's where I think Nate Doss brings so much to the table is he's been in every one of these situations where he knows what's going on. So if he had someone who was more guiding him, I think it would really work out well. Yeah. But the live commentary is a learning curve, but I think the product they've been putting out recently has been the best live disc golf I've ever seen.
Yes,
especially like graphics wise and stuff.
Yeah,
it's hard to be interesting in a lot of golf.
They have like a guy on the course. I think his name is Matt or something. They like call him in every so often. Like, hey Matt, what just happened? He's like, oh, that shot. They called it OB, and it all depends whether it's on this side of the wire or not. So that's cool. You got a guy right on the course saying,
Yeah,
like,
Nate
what the course
Perkins was
like.
that for FPO.
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha.
So they were going to him several times. They're like,
Yeah.
Nate, like from our camera angle, that looks like it's pretty close to the OB. What's happening? He's like, yeah, I'm actually looking right at the disc. It's a very close call. If I'm making the call, it's inbounds, but we'll have to wait for what the group says.
Exactly. I will say this: Philo is a great commentary person. He knows the game of disc golf very well. He did say something today to where I think this could work for a lot of people. Is you have these players who are throwing ridiculously far. And then you have players who, like Philo, has just been a student of the game of where the average-wise, they do very well at events. They don't have that big power. One thing that he did say, though, he was like, look, if I was to say anything to these young guns who are out there crushing, he's like, stop taking so many risks. Play a little bit smarter. I think if you had all these players playing just a tad bit smarter, every single one of them would be playing that much better. I think some of these players are taking too many unnecessary risks of like, oh, yeah, I can't throw that 550-foot shot. It's like,
you can, but why?
Is that really worth it? Like,
I think that's what Eagles' shift got him to where he is right now.
Exactly. I'm very curious because Simon's not 100%. If Simon starts playing smart golf, how good can Simon
we saw him shred New London.
Blind playing smart golf. We saw him do the Simon Lines thing with Paul's video. He murdered it. Like, he played incredible. And then, he went out to New London and played really well there. So I'm excited for that. I'm excited for disc golf. Check it out on Disc Golf the Network. Live coverage tomorrow. We got some battles going on.
Yeah, and then be sure next week, if you want to kind of hear some interviews from players who did well here, be sure to check out the Nick and Matt show on Monday night at 7 p.m. Eastern. And then if you want to just hear some analytics and stuff like that, they'll have some of that as well. And then Grip Locked will be back posted again next Thursday. We really enjoy doing that and be able to provide all this content for you guys. Hopefully you've enjoyed the stream, and thank you so much for tuning in. We will see you at the next Elite Series or Major.
Peace.